Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. Another relatively old game. We're in the T95E2. I've got the crew for the Pershing on it, so it's a pretty well trained, well skilled crew. And we're on the Arctic map. It's tier 8 battle. Good mix of tanks. Heavy, lights, there's some top tier heavies on both sides. However, things have been, Arctic is funny recently. Like, normally Arctic, you'd expect the action in the opposite corners, the northwest and the southeast, with the middle mostly operating by tanks that are scouting. Now, I'm going essentially scouting in the middle with the T95E2, mostly because nobody else is doing it. There's a light tank gone up into the kind of nuke above me. I don't think that's a good location. It's they're very easily spotted there, particularly if somebody goes to the opposite side here. It's not as useless as that location over there at C8 that I'm just looking at now, where the Churchill gun carriage and those two other tanks are. That is, I think, an utterly useless location. I've never seen tanks. Well, that's not true. I think Quickie Baby has a game where somebody goes up there to T95 and pretty much wins the game single-handed, but mostly because the enemy are stupid and don't come at them one at a time. But in general, in most games that I've seen, and in most of the time that I ever tried it myself back when I was still learning the ropes, shall we say, on this map, I've tried it a few times with tank destroyers, and I have found it to be a completely and utterly useless location. The problem is you're too far back to spot stuff on your own, unlike, say, this location where I'm now, where I've got quite a lot of spotting ribbons, and I'm getting a nice handy amount of and consistent amount of assisted damage as well. That C8 location, it looks like a good location for tank destroyers, but anytime I've ever tried it, there's never anybody to shoot in the directions that you can shoot out, you would say, with relative safety. And then if you have to go and shoot the stuff that you can see from that location, you generally have to expose most or all of your tank. And because you're at the edge of a cliff, you have to take your time, and it's kind of tricky maneuvering yourself into position. And you can get, if there's somebody here, where I am, spotting, or even down where that medium is at the edge of the lake, with good view range, a light tank down there, or just up at the other end of this dry gully that I'm on, they'll spot you over in those locations, and you just tend to get slaughtered by tanks out of your range that you can't see, who will just get free shots at you. So I've never seen it do well. You can go in there, yeah, and you can hide, and you can be in cover and wait for the end of the game, in which case they have to dig you out of it. You might get a few opportunities, or you can try and be active during the game, in which case you just get shot to ribbons without doing a lot in return. We'll get back to the tanks that were in there and have a look at their statistics later on, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Where that Rheinmetall Borsig is, it's not a terrible location, but again, it's dependent on scouts. Now, the Chaffee's come down here, but he's come down a bit late. There's a lot of enemy tanks dead by the time he arrived down here. I'm not sure if he was here earlier on. I certainly didn't spot him. And he could... That is a very good scouting location as well. Now, I took a big risk getting out here into the open. Although that said, if the Tiger up there is shooting at me, then he's not shooting at the guys in front of him. And it might be more pertinent to his case to be shooting at the guys in front of him, because they're now putting pressure on, and he's actually been forced to withdraw, and the Tiger 2 is now in trouble because he has waited a little bit too long, and now he's got a light tank circling him, and he's been shot at from multiple directions, and the position is more or less collapsed up on that point. The Borsig has now waited too long as well, because if the position To the north of me north has fallen. There to the west of where he is has fallen. You can't actually hold where he is. He needs to be on the other side of the Dragon's Teeth. As I went after the AMX Chaffee, he decided to go after me, I think, or at least go into the position that I'd vacated. However, it's he's not going to survive in there. He's going to be constantly spotted, and there's too many tanks to the south of him. So this is pretty much game over now. Our team have managed to handle it quite handily. We only lost 3 tanks, and we've managed to take out pretty much most of the enemy team. It's something I've noticed lately, is that the southern spawning team are not heavily contesting the south anymore. They tend to just hang back, have a few tanks over there kind of acting as spotters, and the rest of the tanks closer to the base, just as a second line of defence. Although in this case it was heavy tanks that were doing the defending, not tank destroyers. I've come up here, there's no survivors on this side. All the survivors are down in the heavy tank country. So they're still holding their position, but there's now a swarm of tanks descending upon them from multiple directions, and it's just going to be all over in a matter of moments, really, because everybody's closing in. Everyone wants to get their shot off. A little bit of damage, as much as they can, and the red guys don't have a hope. So that's it, game over. Finished up detecting 7 tanks, 11 damaging ribbons and 7 assisted. With the boosts and operations and what have you, that amounted to quite a nice sum of money. Over 100,000 and quite a bit of experience too. We got a second class mastery and a Confederate. We did over 2,000 regular damage and almost 2,000 spotted damage, and we came number 1 by experience. However, I'm just curious about the tanks that were at C8. Well, first let's have a look at the Churchill gun carriage. A difficult enough tank to drive, very difficult to turn. We get about 230 points, which is, what, 1 shot? The Tiger 131 actually did well for himself on points, but he only got 640 damage, which is about, what, 3 shots? And the WZ111 1GFT 399, I'm not sure what the damage from that tank is, but it looks like maybe 1-2 shots as well. I think it's definitely not worth it. You can find better places to be and more useful things to do with your tank, I think, than going there. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please consider giving it a like. And if you have not already done so, please consider giving the channel a subscription, and I will catch you all again soon.